let's raise the big questions. Is this really, as I said, a welfare scheme, or is it an election remedy? Is the free ration scheme the ultimate election weapon for the Modi government? Should free ration now be made permanent rather than these extensions just for 3 months at a time? Shehzad Poonawalla, the BJP's evergreen spokesperson, is with us. Supriya Srinath of the Congress is with us, and Reena Gupta of the Aam, the party which has been raising this issue in Gujarat, is also with us. I want to come to you, Shehzad Poonawalla, first. The Prime Minister says that Revdi culture must stop. He attacks, without naming the Aap, on subsidies that are given, electricity, public transport subsidies, and yet the government consistently has decided, now we are out of COVID, but seems to have decided that the scheme they brought in April 2020, providing almost 80 crore, they claim, free ration, will continue just for 3 months in time for Gujarat and Himachal. Is this also an election remedy, yes or no?
First of all, you can see the elections coming up, but you're not seeing the fact that it's been on for 25 months where there were no, our elections are held every 6 months. So we should have one election in 5 years, single election should be held. But that's not the point. Let's understand the difference between a Revdi and a welfare scheme. A Revdi is short term, a Revdi is unessential. For instance, if I promise a cooker, irrespective of the class of the person, to every voter who votes for me, as opposed to food grains and rations being given free of cost for food security of the most vulnerable sections. That is a welfare scheme, and that won't be opposed by any party. I don't know if the Congress is opposing this. Secondly, let me tell you, one aims at tushtikaran. For instance, the Aam Aadmi Party says, "Main bijli aur pani ka bill maaf karunga," but 88% of the people or 80% of the people in unauthorized colonies don't have piped water connections at all. One aims at truptikaran. For instance, 9 crore water tap connections have been given in the last 8 years, or if you see, 12 crore toilets have been built. One aims at only announcement. For instance, the Aam Aadmi Party announces that we will give free bus rides to all women. But are there DTC buses in Delhi? No. It was 11,000 they were supposed to procure. Today it's down to less than 4,000 buses. The other aims at not tushtikaran but at announcement and delivery of that announcement. And therefore those targeted deliveries take place where you have zero corruption. Earlier there was a time when you used to give those subsidies, 85 paisa used to be eaten up. Here through DBT and through Jan Dhan and JIM Trinity, the beneficiary gets the entire benefit. One is aimed at only making lollipop promises, the other is aimed at improving the life of somebody. For instance, 500 new schools were supposed to be built by Aam Aadmi Party. They will not be able to name even 100 new schools, they just keep talking about classrooms. On the other hand, what we have done the last 8 years, I'll tell you, 35% schools had hand wash facilities. Today, 90% schools have hand wash facilities, which means when students go to school, they have access to water, clean water, sanitation, and therefore they do not get sick there. They can use more facilities there and they can stay longer at school. So this is the difference between a Revdi and a welfare culture. The Revdi puts a burden on the exchequer. For instance, Delhi's revenue surplus has come down by 88%. On the other hand, when you have proper fiscal management, you have an economy that grows vibrantly at 13.5%, and the benefit reaches the end beneficiary.
Okay, let me first get from each of you where you stand on free ration for all. Supriya Srinath, do you believe this is a lollipop? Do you believe it's a sop, a Revdi? Or do you believe in a country where India ranks low on the hunger index, it's absolutely essential to have a food security scheme in place?
Forgotten. The Food Security Act was enacted by the UPA government led by the Congress party. So just to put it on record here, I am so glad we brought about a law which ensured that people in this country are fed. I just want to point out 2 or 3 things here. 80 crore people being fed is what the BJP keeps telling you on and on and on, almost nauseous. But their MPs in parliament say free fund ka khana kha rahe hain. Aapne free fund ke khane ko kara hai kya? उस MP के साथ क्या कार्रवाई हुई थी? I would really want to know. The second and a more important point is when you have to feed 80 crore people in India in a population of about 135 to 140 crore, it means that our people are in a plightful situation. Please understand the plight of the people. Please understand the joblessness. Please understand the hunger. It is not without a reason that we have consistently gone, lower and lower in the hunger index. The government may want to look away, but that is what high prices and hunger and poverty are doing to this country. And a very important point I want to make here. I want to make a very important point here. You talk about revenues, you talk about, freebies, all of that. What about the gold coins that you hand over to the corporate sector? What about 4.5 lakh crore rupees let gone off because corporate tax was cut? And last but not the least, to talk about these things, you only have elections in mind. Because today the wheat stock in this country is at a 5-year low. Rice cultivation is down 13%, which means there is a real crisis of food grains. What are you going to do about that? That is the big question.
Okay.
Please do not question our people on revenues and freebies, because you're doing all it takes to benefit the richy rich. Please understand, the poor in this country have been brought to this stage thanks to your flawed and wrong priorities.
I'll come to that specific point that you raised about India's status in the global hunger index, but I want to ask you, Reena Gupta, where does the AAP stand on free ration? Would you be supporting the government's decision to give 3 more months of free ration to a number? We won't go to the exact number, 80 crores is what the government suggests, but either way, a substantial number of people below the poverty line.
So Rajdeep, first of all, I have strong objection to this term which has been coined by the Honorable Prime Minister, Revdi. These are not Revdis. Prime Minister Modi or the Bharatiya Janata Party is not giving anybody out of their largesse or out of their pocket. This is tax revenue which has been collected by the government, which needs to go back to the people in the form of basic services that the people of this country need. So on one hand, you have the Modi model, where corporate taxes of 11 lakh crores have been waived off. And then you have the Aam Aadmi Party model, where we are saying that with this tax money, the people of this country, the people of, should have access to free and good quality education, free and good quality health care. And in a place like Delhi, which is hot 9 months in the year, you also need access to 200 units of electricity, which is a basic human right. Now, the problem is when the Prime Minister, the Bharatiya Janata Party and the Prime Minister should get its language right. When the Aam Aadmi Party promises these things, they say ye revdi hai. Recently Mr. Amit Shah went to Gujarat and said ki sapna dikhane wali party aa gayi hai. So clearly they are rattled with the politics of Aam Aadmi Party, where we have shown that we actually can deliver on our promises, and that is the reason why.
But you support the free ration scheme. You support in principle the free ration scheme, am I correct?
But we support, but this should be a right. It should not be as if they are doing anybody a favor or an ehsan कि हमने आपको फ्री का राशन खिलाया. कोई अपनी जेब से नहीं खिला रहा है किसी को फ्री का राशन. ये जनता का टैक्स का पैसा है जिसको आप यूज करके जनता को बेसिक चीजें मुहैया करा रहे हैं. So I have problem with this attitude that everything that they give, they are doing an ehsan to the people of this country. Each one of us, whether it's rich or poor, pays taxes. Somebody who buys a bag of salt also pays taxes. And at one point, you are waiving off taxes of the corporate houses. And when Aam Aadmi Party government gives basic services to the people, they ridicule it and say freebie hai.
Okay, let me, Mr. Poonawalla, you will be struck from both sides. Both these parties are raising questions. There are questions over India's status in the global hunger index. 101 out of 116. I know that the government dismisses that figure, but that's the figure that's been put. 101 out of 116 global hunger index. The point that is being made both by Supriya and Reena Gupta is that this is a government which will also give corporate tax waivers. Those are not revenues, those are not benefits. Vedanta has been given a deal along with Foxconn for Gujarat, which again involves a large number of subsidies given to one corporate. That is not revenue. I want to know from you very clear, how do you square up the fact that you're giving all these benefits, free ration? I think everyone believes that the hungry and the poor in India must get free ration, but we are still ranked 101. So there is an acceptance in a way that we haven't been able to solve the problem of food security.
Now there are 3 people I'm answering questions of, so please give
me
I
asked the question to them.
Your questions
no snide remarks, sir. Let's move on.
But anyways,
on
that index where India is 101 apparently, where is Sri Lanka? Above India? You buy a country which can't have any resources today, and it depends on us, on other countries for food. You buy that ranking. The other ranking, why don't you take with the IMF report which says that extreme poverty was kept under 1% because of this free ration scheme? So you want to selectively take a report, that's okay, you can do that. Now, secondly, let me come to a larger point. Please, Reena ji, I am answering 3 questions, please. Have the patience.
Please get this fact check. There's no report.
Rajdeep, we can have a civilized debate.
1 minute.
Reena ji says that I will give 1,000 rupee allowance to every woman in Punjab. Very good. You're not giving it in Delhi, but you want to give it in Punjab. This is at a time when Punjab has a debt of 3 lakh crore, which you knew it had the debt of 3 lakh crore. Discoms are in a terrible position. Now they can't even pay the salaries of the employees of Punjab government. In PGI hospital, they have stopped the free treatment meant for the poorest of the poor under the Ayushman scheme, not the Ayushman Bharat scheme, but the Ayushman scheme, where they could not provide that. What is the priority? To give somebody who can afford or has a higher class 1,000 rupees per person, per woman, or to give the poorest of the poor health facilities? What is the priority? Secondly, they say I'll give free water. Free water, to theek hai. Delhi mein 20% people in the unauthorized colonies have pipe connections, so they have to rely on tankers. Where is the free water? And those who get free water also, it is so dirty, it can't be, it's not potable water. So instead of giving 24 hours supply of clean water, you promise them free water and you give them nothing. You promise 500 schools, you build some classrooms, and in that you do corruption. Now let me come to Supriya Shene ji, because I respect her on her economic knowledge. Supriya Shene ji, you gave 49 lakh crores as social spending and as capex spending in 10 years. Out of that, 13.9 lakh crores was subsidy spending. We in 8 years have done 90 lakh crores, out of which 24.5 lakh crores is a subsidy on food, fuel and fertilizer. Please tell me who's caring more for the social welfare of the people. Secondly, between 2010 to 2014, 4-year period, they constructed how many houses for the poor? 25 lakh. We constructed 1.25 crore houses. Is that revenue or is that welfare of the people? Should people not have houses? Why didn't you construct it? You say that there were so many people poor, we have to, this is actually a reflection on your empty promises of Garibi Hatao. Garibi kisi ki nahi hatai. अब हट रही है क्योंकि we are giving them free Yojana scheme, we are giving them free gas connections, we are giving them free toilets, we are giving them free houses. This is why today the poor are being sheltered onslaught of two crisis.
Before I get them to respond, do you also concede amidst all this, amidst what you said, 80 crore, your own government's figure of 130 odd crore Indians therefore deserve free ration at the moment? That suggests 2 in every 3 Indians at the moment needs free ration to, in a way, get food security. You accept that? When the Congress brought in the food security scheme under Dr. Manmohan Singh, the BJP had raised questions over it. Today, that scheme, in a way, is what you're taking to the people of this country. Is there an acceptance of that or not?
Rajdeep, today inflation is at an all-time high across the globe because of 2 crises. One which has led to supply crisis of food grains because of the Ukraine-Russia war, and one that has led to another crisis in the COVID. Because of that, there's a crisis in supply as well. These 2 crises were existing during the 2004 to 2014 tenure, and at that time, let me tell you what was the kind of inflation we faced. In India, we faced 2-digit inflation, we faced double-digit inflation, 10% inflation, 9% inflation was the average inflation. So what was the Aam Aadmi getting at that time? Today, to shelter the most vulnerable sections and ensure that food security is there at a time when you are facing global crisis, 2 global crises, what is wrong in it?
Okay.
Are they opposing it? And secondly, if I give a loan to a person through Mudra, they have a problem with it. 18 lakh crore rupee loans were given in 60 years, and then in the next 4 years, 36 lakh crore loans were given, taking the NPA to the highest levels. Today, the NPA, gross NPA level is the lowest, 5.9%. It's the lowest in the last 6-7 years. Ms. Supriya Shene has a problem. At that time, you were giving phone alone loans. Today, the loans are given to poor people through Mudra scheme. The major beneficiaries are people from the SC, ST, OBC community.
Okay.
They have a problem with that, and they say that is revenue.
Okay. Supriya Shene, respond.
I would really want the BJP spokesperson, my friend, to have a glass of water, because in the quest of rattling off numbers, you have to also understand the numbers. I am very glad that he spoke about the social sector schemes. Let me now lay bare the facts. Rattling off numbers is never going to take you through. You know, the centrally sponsored social sector schemes have been cut to half, aadhi ho gayi hain. The Women and Child Development Department had 19 schemes for girls, reduced to just 3. You want to know what they are spending on social sector schemes? 3.2% of the total budget was being spent earlier. It has consistently gone down to 2.5% of the budget now. You are cutting the expenditure on social sector as you are cutting the expenditure
on agriculture number. Don't give me absolute numbers. Give me numbers as a percentage of the budget. Social sector schemes down, agriculture expenditure down, 67,000 crore worth of money you did not even spend on agriculture. You returned it to the exchequer, and that's not me. The Standing Committee on Agriculture has said so. A very important point was made, and I want to talk about that point. कि बड़े-बड़े देशों में inflation की समस्या है. Why are we talking about high prices in India? Simple lack of understanding again. In countries like the US or the UK that have 20, 30, 40 times our per capita income, the impact of inflation is much less. You know what is the gross national income per capita in dollars in UK? 45,000 and above. In India, it is 6,500. It is more than 8 times. So please understand, when you rattle numbers, understand the context of the numbers. I also want to point out one last thing before you can move on to the other panelists. And that thing is, when you say free ki gas, free ka cylinder, free ki vaccine, this is exactly what governments are elected for, to take care of the people. When you do it, to sab theek hai. Koi aur kare to revdi hai. It's like, you know, that saying that says, Twada kutta kutta, mera kutta kutta, twada kutta Tommy. Something like that. It's really that, really. Revdi for you is actually stuff that we should be doing for the common people of this country, for the poor of this country. You have consistently made policies only for the rich. You have let go of 5 lakh crore worth of income from capital tax cuts. Who's going to account for that? Your national, and you talk about debt. The debt has gone up multiple times. It's over 156 lakh crore for India today. The most over-leveraged group, of course, is the second richest in the world, Mr. Adani. किसने कृपा करी उन पर? 643rd position से second position पर आप लेकर आए. Banks का exposure उनका देखिए. Mudra scheme. Talk about the NPAs in Mudra scheme, and who can start a business in 3,000 rupees or 3 lakh rupees, the variations in the Mudra scheme. So let's talk about real numbers. Let's talk about numbers that matter, and let us all get together and understand we need to do a lot more for our people. You are insulting them by, actually calling what the government should be doing for the people रेवड़ी. आप जो अशर्फियां बांट रहे हैं ना अमीरों को, वो रेवड़ी के मुकाबले में बहुत ज्यादा है. उसके बारे में चिंता करिए. Don't rattle off numbers if you don't understand them.
We have limited.
Social sector schemes and agriculture expenditure have consistently gone down.
Okay, you made the point.
Very quickly.
Central outlays on social sector schemes have gone down. That is a reality. I think one has to accept, Shehzad Poonawalla, that, you know, we all of us cherry pick figures. Supriya Shireth may cherry pick a few figures, you cherry pick a few figures. The fact, the reality is, and let me throw one figure at you.
I've stated figures for their budget.
Rice production estimated to fall by 6%. Wheat output has also dropped. At a time like this, what you need to do, people need, I think nobody disputes people need food grains desperately. The question at the end of the day is, when that is done by other parties, whether it is Mamata Banerjee in Bengal through a Dware Sarkar scheme, you all say it's populist, it's aimed at winning elections, it's revdi. When you do it, it becomes welfare.
First of all,
just respond.
Rajdeep, first of all, when the Prime Minister spoke about revdi culture, he took no party or political organization or state government's name. But I don't know why some people take it so personally. He gave an example of what is happening around us, and we've seen the Sri Lankan experience, where family first, freebies first, and corruption first, which is common in couple of parties here, has led to the downfall of Sri Lanka.
But it was clear that it was directed at parties like the Aam Aadmi Party.
उड़ता तीर मैं पकड़ लूं और फिर मैं बोलूं कि भाई it was aimed at me. Now let me tell you how Supriya gives you misleading figures. First of all, Supriya says that what have you spent on agriculture? Supriya ji, take it in percentage terms. The agriculture spending has gone up 4-fold. There's a 4-fold rise. Your agriculture spending, the full budget was 1.46 lakh crore. Our budget is 6.11 lakh crore. You gave us 60,000 crore loan waiver once, and that was your revdi, and how much it was implemented. The CAG came up with that. Please, ma'am, please. We have given 12 crore Kisan, 1.8 lakh crore of Kisan Samman Nidhi. We have given them 1.2 lakh crore of Fasal Bima Yojana payouts. Now please, Rajdeep, this is my time. 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 Rajdeep, I do not yield. Rajdeep, I do not yield because facts are very...
Go ahead. You have about 30 seconds.
Secondly, Aam Aadmi Party says we have waived off corporate tax of 11 lakh crore. Congress says 5 lakh crore. अरे एक झूठ तो decide करके आ जाओ घर से. She is saying 11 lakh crore. She said it in the opening statement. She is saying 5 lakh crore. The fact of the matter is corporate tax collection has gone up year after year despite the pandemic. That is the fact. Nirmala Sitharaman has given the figures in Parliament. Now please let me complete. Then she spoke about one group. Rajdeep, she's constantly interrupting.
Supriya, let him finish. He did not stop you.
I might get a
This
chance.
is not
I will
fair.
let you respond, Reena, at the end. Go ahead.
Rajdeep, she took the name of a group. If that group is being favored by somebody in power, then why is it that in Rajasthan, the two groups that you keep targeting have made the highest investment of 1.68 lakh crore? Who got the Diggy port in Maharashtra when the MVA government was there? Who did the UPA give SEZ projects to? Who got 1 lakh crore loans during the UPA tenure between 2004 to 14? Those same very groups. आप करें तो चमत्कार और मैं करूं तो गुनेगार. ये जो बोल रही थी ना, मेरा कुत्ता कुत्ता और आपका कुत्ता टॉमी, यही हो गया.
Okay.
Now let me come. No. But let me answer all the questions. It will take 10 seconds. During Supriya's tenure, the fiscal deficit between 2009 to 14 was between 4 to 6%. Between 2014 to 19, it was under 4%. These are the two normal times, because now it is an abnormal time. Two worst crises are there. This is the way we have managed the economy. 13.5% GDP growth that has taken place in the last quarter. You have had a situation of highest FDI, highest exports, highest FDI, highest exports. This is the way we have managed the economy.
Okay. Reena Gupta has been very silent. Reena Gupta, as I said, with Gujarat elections coming up, I want to understand from you, y'all are also making all kinds of promises without necessarily looking at the state of the exchequer. 1,000 rupees for every woman in Gujarat, more than 3 crore women will get 1,000 rupees per month. Do you see these as election revenues, or do you see these as necessary schemes for the people?
Rajdeep, each of these has been, looked into detail. These are all necessary schemes. But let's talk about Gujarat, Rajdeep, because that is supposed to be the poster state for Bharatiya Janata Party. They have been ruling it for 27 years, and they have been claiming to be fiscally very responsible. Then why is there a debt of 3 lakh crore? And I repeat, 3 lakh crore on Gujarat. CAG has warned Gujarat of falling into a debt trap. After 27 years in power, continuously, you still don't have roads, you still don't have good schools, you still don't have good hospitals. And at the same time, you are spending 200 crores on buying a private jet for the Chief Minister of Gujarat. This is the Bharatiya Janata Party model, that when you spend 200 crores for buying a jet for the Chief Minister of Gujarat, that is not considered a freebie. And you're not spending money for ensuring that the people of Gujarat have access to good quality health, good quality education. Rajdeep, they advertise for a post of a village sahayak of 230 rupees a month. 1 lakh people applied for that position. Every second day, the papers get leaked in Gujarat. The youth of Gujarat are so angry.
In Punjab, you have not been able to pay for the first time government salaries. In Punjab, for the first time in PGI hospital, you stopped treatment to the poor. Please answer when Arvind Kejriwal made those tall promises. He said, I know how to manage the economy, and then he came with a bowl to the centre saying that please fund all our freebies that we need to give as we promised them in the elections.
My producer is saying we are out of time. We could carry on. And we could carry on with the blame game. I think we need a clearer definition of what constitutes a remedy and what constitutes genuine welfare. I think there is an agreement that food, grain is essential, but the question therefore is it cannot be different strokes for different folks. And I think we need to recognize that this is a responsibility of the government to the people of this country, to the poor of the country. Thank you all very much for joining us.